Good morning, it is Laurel. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to do an Art with Laurel segment, and I thought I would go over one of my painting kits. Materials I'm going to use, super technical, little sketching pencil, a plastic watercolor palette. It pops open like this, and I've got, my paints are escaping. It has a little thumb hold that pops open, so I can hold this and hold my sketchbook in one hand. I like to use my own tube colors for watercolor, and then I can set up my palette just the way I want because I have particular colors I like to use. There goes one now. Come back! Let's take a look at something you might have around your house. Maybe something like this. This is great stuff for using in the field. These pans.
And something I have not used much, but a lot of artists absolutely love is called a water brush pen. I think they're called that. But there's a reservoir. I don't know if you guys can see. It's got water in it, just a little bit. I need to fill it. But this reservoir screws off. I can put water in and then screw it back on. And then it has a little regulator. So you can see the brush tip on here. It's a nice and fine point. If I squeeze, do this without getting it all over my artwork. If I squeeze, it will load the brush with some water. There, got a couple drops. So I can use that to wet my paint or to create a wash. Either one works really well. The sketchbook. So here's the deal. If you're gonna spend money on anything, brushes for watercolor, you can find brushes that are very affordable, but the paper makes a big difference. So this is a specific watercolor paper sketchbook. The paper is very heavy, which is good. It can actually stand up to watercolors. I can't tell you how many sketchbooks I've used where the paper just falls apart. It drives me crazy. Maybe do a little hunting and invest in a sketchbook that has heavier weight paper, or you can buy paper and cut it to size and then glue it into a sketchbook you've already got if you want to keep it all in one spot. But this, I've been using this and I like it a lot. Brush, so I use a little towel. My buddy Elise made these. She hemmed a bunch of old crummy towels and we now use them for cleaning up brushes so we don't have to throw out paper towels. Awesome, I highly recommend it. You can use like a sock if you wanted. I know people who, if they paint in the field a lot and they're using watercolor, they'll cut the ankle of a sock and put it on their wrist and then they can clean their brush right there. Works great. And fine, but I got a palette cup. You can order these online. They're called palette cups. The top screws off and it's actually, it's got a little gasket in here so it's waterproof. These are filled, they're ready to go. I use one, so I will bring this guy out, load it up at home. It doesn't leak when you thread it correctly. There we go. But that just allows me to carry water in the field.
Time to test drive some washes. You guys can feel free to sit back and watch, or you could grab your sketchbook and colors and sketch along with. The washes, I'm just playing around with various pigments and adding more water or less water in order to make the color more or less intense. And I'm going to do that with many of the colors on the palette just so I have an idea how these work for me before I go out into the field. I'm going to add a layer over the yellow to try to mix green, so I'm taking ultramarine blue, or at least that's what it looks like. I'm layering that over the yellow, so this is one of the ways you can create color mixtures directly on your paper, or you could do that on your palette so that you have an idea what the color looks like in advance. I'm playing around with lifting some color back out with a dry brush also. Here I am mixing the green on the palette. I'm using yellow and blue, and then I'm going to add that to my paper. It's kind of a fun way just to see the two different ways to mix colors. I'm mixing my own greens from yellow and blue because that allows me to capture the greens a little bit more specifically when I'm painting outside. Once I finish this, let's go paint some real stuff. because this is watercolor, I need to make sure that I'm working from light to dark, so I'm putting in my lightest values first. That's the bright yellow and some of the light greens, and then I'll start bringing in layers that are darker until I get everything built up to a point that I like. Time to add in some details, and then I will bring in my darkest darks and I will call it a finished sketch. I hope this gives you a few insights into how I create a color sketch from life. Please send me your questions if you've got a few, and thank you for watching.